G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/AmITheA post. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready to tell me who you think is the a-hole. Our first post is by Myuser, Flower Shop Blues, titled, Am I the a-hole for cutting off my family over my mum's will? I always suspected my mum preferred my sister over me. Growing up, she spoiled my sister with whatever she wanted and took her word over mine whenever we argued. I was always in second place compared to her. For example, when we turned 16, I was given my auntie's old clunker that ended up dying within 6 months. When my sister turned 16, she got the brand new red Volkswagen of her dreams. Mum said that I couldn't continue my piano lessons because they were getting so expensive, while still supporting my sister's dance lessons, competitions, etc. Things got really bad about a decade ago. When we were in high school, I fell in love with this guy, Joey, and started dating him for a while, only for him to dump me because he preferred my sister. Yes, my sister seduced him. This really broke me because he was my first love. Well, my sister and Joey ended up getting married after their college graduation, and that is when things went from bad to worse. Our mother had her will made and she was leaving everything to my sister. For background information, our childhood home was a 2-story building, where my mother's flower shop was on the ground floor and the apartment we grew up in was on the 2nd floor. While I didn't get along with my mum or sister, I loved that flower shop and had been working there for most of my life. I dreamed of owning that shop one day. But instead, my mother was going to leave the building, the shop, and the apartment to my sister. While I could still work in the shop, my sister would be the owner and I would have to do what she says. There was no use in trying to convince her to change her mind. In her mind, my sister was the married one with a baby on the way. She needed the business and a house to raise her family. Meanwhile, I was single and had nothing. So I cut them off. If my mother didn't see me as a family member, then I wanted nothing to do with them anymore. It was clear who she favored more. So I moved out of my childhood home and was on my own. Less than a year later, I joined the Peace Corps and have been living abroad since. Now to the present. After not hearing from them for years, my sister found me on social media and reached out to me. She wanted to talk to me, rekindle whatever relationship we had. I told her no, that I never wanted to talk to her or have anything to do with her or our mother again. She then starts to write this angry message about how I could do this to her and why would I turn my back on her. But as far as I'm concerned, she is not my family. She hasn't been family in a decade. My partner and our baby is family. I have a new, happier, more fulfilling life in South Africa than I ever did back in the States. I don't want to ever see my old family again because of how they treated me. I don't want them to meet my daughter. If I let them back into my life, I am afraid they will ruin my new life that I made for myself. Am I the a-hole and being too harsh? Edit. Holy crap. I'm flabbergasted. But for those of you who are gilding this post or are planning to, please donate your money to COVID-19 first responders instead. Not the a-hole. Not from my point of view. You found peace and love elsewhere instead of with them. No need to drag up all that toxicity again if you're in a good place. Thank you. I blocked her on all of my accounts. I never want to see hide or hair of her again. You're not the a-hole. Actually, good on you for having the bravery to step outside of a toxic environment. Wishing the best. Exactly what I was thinking. How brave to literally step out of every comfort zone and make a life for yourself. Definitely not the a-hole, and you owe them nothing. Not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole, to the 100th power. Your mum essentially disowned you. She deserves nothing from you at all. And your sister is very much in the wrong here too. Like for allowing your mother to shower her with everything and to give you nothing. Not to mention wooing your boyfriend from you and marrying him, which is an incredibly crappy thing to do to you. I can't even believe these people are so clueless and so heartless. Good for you for carving out your own life. You owe them absolutely nothing. Putting multiple vote phrases like NTA or YTA in a comment invalidates all votes in said comments. We get what you mean, but the poll bot basically skips over your comments. Also agreed. Okay, but I'd rather make my point like I made it, rather than have it counted by some bot. And last comment, Try Until You Drop says, not the a-hole. If you don't feel the desire to have a relationship with these people, you should not have a relationship with these people. If you feel really generous, tell your sister, I really don't want a relationship with you, but since you want sisterly support from me, here it is. If you have more than one child, love them equally and treat them both fairly. Bye now. The next post was by user Husband Broke Deal, titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting my husband to honor our deal? My husband really wanted kids. I like kids and sort of wanted them, but I hate the work associated with babies. I would rather work an 18-hour shift than change a diaper and clean up vomit. So I made him agree before we got married if we have kids, he'll stay at home and do all the nights and cleaning up. Well, I've been working from home, and as I've been home, he's become increasingly difficult. He sleeps half the day away, and spends most of the time just lying in bed. I've been having to wake him up in the morning, or he'll just sleep until noon. Then at night when she cries, he won't get up, and will make me wake up and try and get me to do it. Obviously, I say no, in which case he lets her cry for 5 to 10 minutes before he finally gets up. And now he's been asking me during the day too. Can I just change her once? Can I just clean this up? Can I just hold her? In the middle of work, I'm doing my job, and he comes in and interrupts me. It's ridiculous that I have to put up with it when he specifically agreed to do it. I've been locking my office door during the day, and tonight he blew up at me, saying that I have to help out since I'm home anyway. I went through pregnancy. I make our money. Now he wants me to do what he promised to do. He says it's unfair that he has to do it all, when again he promised he would. How is it fair that I have to work and harass him to take care of her? We have been fighting all night about it, and now he locked himself in the bedroom. Am I the a-hole? Personally, I feel like that's a really hard one, but going by Dorothy Z. Bonak's army, everyone sucks here. You guys should not have had children. Thinking that a child and everything they entail would always fall under the purview of one partner only, all the time, no matter what, was naive at best and disingenuous at worst. What you're looking for is completely unrealistic, that you would never have to change a diaper or take care of the child during the day at all, even during their entire childhood because he promised. He had no way to plausibly make that promise, so he sucks too. Saying he'd be fine with effectively being a single parent at home while you work was something he had no way of being prepared for, and is a silly argument all around. I'd suggest counseling as soon as possible, but this isn't looking great, I'm sorry. I agree. I guess I could understand the diaper thing. I had a cousin who wouldn't change diapers because every time he did it, he threw up. But to compensate for that, he took care of everything else he could. Late night wake-ups? He was up and out of bed before the second scream. Baby wouldn't calm down. He'd stop what he was doing to take her for a ride, no matter how long, to give his wife a break and calm down the baby. There were other things, but basically he understood that it was a big thing he couldn't do, and he hated it, so he did what he could when he wasn't at work. But not even bothering to soothe her after her husband spent all day with the baby? Childcare is full-time work. That's why babysitters and daycares get paid. It's not just lounging around with the baby in a playpen. Has OP spent any time with her child? Jesus. He's kind of an ass for trying to make her do stuff while she's on work hours, but he's not the a-hole for asking for help when she's back off the clock. You're the a-hole, and start a therapy fund for your daughter. Sounds like she's going to need it. That poor baby not feeling a motherly hug or maternal affection. Damn, that's so sad. Moving on, our next post is by Wee Pad Woes, titled, Am I the a-hole for putting my dog's wee pads on the bathroom floor because my boyfriend has bad aim and keeps missing the toilet? My boyfriend, 30 male, and I, 28 female, have been together about a year, and when our city implemented lockdown for the virus, he decided to quarantine with me at my apartment, as I live alone and have a nicer apartment, and he has several roommates. Mostly it's been going well, and thankfully we both still have jobs, except in the first few weeks, I started noticing that the bathroom floor was suddenly always wet around the toilet. The sink is across the room from the toilet, so it's unlikely to be from the sink. At first I thought it might be water, but soon realized that it was definitely pee. I asked boyfriend about it nicely, and he apologized and said sometimes he has bad aim. I asked him to try a little harder, and he said sure. The floor continued to be frequently spattered with pee, and a few weeks later I confronted him about it again because I think it's pretty gross to step in his pee several times a week, and it seems like an easy thing to fix. If he misses the toilet, I think the very least he could do is make sure to wipe it up with toilet paper or a Clorox wipe. The cleaning supplies even live in a cabinet directly over the toilet. He said sure, sorry, he would try to remember to do that. Another week has passed, and while maybe he's doing this sometimes, I've continued to step in splatters of his pee and wipe it off the floor and clean the floor several times a week. I thought about asking him to just pee into the bathtub or something instead, because I don't understand how you can pee on the floor by accident so often and not notice or clean it up. Last night, I got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, and absolutely stepped in the pee for the 1,200 millionth time. I had had it, and I didn't want to pick a fight or ask him again, since it seems clear he can't or won't change. So, I got one of my dog's wee-wee pads from when he was a puppy. He's well trained now, and cut up a bit and taped it down to make it a sort of skirt, or mat around the floor near the toilet, to at least absorb the pee. Boyfriend saw it this morning and is furious with me, saying that I'm calling him a dog, comparing him to an animal, etc. Honestly, I was not thinking that at all. I was just trying to be resourceful and solve the problem for myself, since I don't like pee on my bathroom floor and I don't like stepping in it. I didn't feel like arguing about it anymore, and putting a material specifically meant to absorb pee around the area he keeps peeing on by accident seemed like a practical solution. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If he pees like an animal, then this is a perfectly appropriate solution. Boyfriend needs to grow up and be more considerate. This is disgusting. I'd honestly consider telling him he needs to sit down to pee at this rate. Yeah, I'm a mum to 4 boys and I make them sit down in the shared bathrooms. It's so gross and I don't get it at all. How do you not notice your pee everywhere? My husband still sits to pee because he realized when sharing a bathroom with women, it's easier. Not the a-hole. I don't know if long-term cohabitating and or marriage are in the future for you two, but he is telling you right now how he is going to behave in the future. You should expect that if you settle, you will be dealing with pissy bathroom floors for the rest of your lives together. True, he's 30 and still can't manage to hit the toilet. He needs to sit down when he takes a pee if that is such an issue. As someone who used to clean a building that had 1,200 men use the bathrooms daily, this is a huge problem among many of them. Every single day, I had to scrub pee out of the floor tiles. Our next post is by user Senior Dingo, titled, Am I the a-hole for having the mother of my daughter deported? A few years ago, I met this woman Maggie. She was on a work visa originally from Europe. After casually dating for a few months, she told me she was pregnant and she wanted to keep the baby. I wasn't happy about this at all. This was not how I pictured starting my family. I was always careful and wore protection, even though she told me she was on birth control. After many discussions, I resigned myself to my fate of becoming a dad. I had no interest in having a romantic relationship with Maggie, something she kept pushing for. So the baby arrives, and I just fall in love with her instantly. I ended up loving being a dad to her, and me and Maggie seem to be doing an okay job for managing to co-parent. One day, out of the blue, Maggie tells me she's met someone. Initially, I'm okay with it, only slightly concerned as this will be a new person in our daughter's life. Then she hit with the kicker. He lived all the way on the East Coast, and she was planned on moving and taking our daughter with her. It was like a gut punch. I immediately told her that wasn't happening, and I wouldn't allow it. It turned into a pretty big screaming match, with her pretty much telling me she's doing it, and there's nothing I can do to stop her. For the next few days, I couldn't eat or sleep properly. On a conversation with my brother, he told me to go to a lawyer. Something about my brother, he's always been a calculating son of a beer. Remember that work visa? He reminded me to bring up the fact that it had expired quite a while ago. Well, I did that. Long story short, Maggie got deported and banned from entering the country for several years, and I got full custody. This wasn't my first choice, but I'll take it over only seeing my daughter once, possibly twice a year. I was telling a close friend the story, and she told me that I did the wrong thing and that I shouldn't have taken my daughter away from her mother. I said she planned on taking her away from me and playing house with a man that I knew nothing about and she barely knew. So I'm here asking, am I the a-hole? Edit, I never expected this kind of reaction. I know I left a lot of details out. I'll try and fill some in. 1. I did try and talk her out of moving a few more times and she refused. I asked if she would consider handing me primary custody and she refused. 3. I asked her to leave our daughter here with me for the first few months just to see if they would work out. She refused. 4. I asked if he would move here. She said he couldn't and never gave any real reasons. 5. I am the father without a doubt. DNA test. 6. My work doesn't permit me much time off. At best, I would only have been able to fly out 2 times in a year. 7. My whole family is here and have always played a big part in our daughter's life. Her mother visited once. 8. I did file for child support on the advice of my lawyer. Although I haven't ever received a penny, I never chased it. 9. I did agree to fly out once and she cancelled. Never tried to arrange anything more. 10. She does video chat with our daughter regularly, and my daughter knows who she is. Oh my god. That new information just makes it worse. What do you say in this situation? Everyone sucks here. She shouldn't plan to move so far away without your consent. That shouldn't be legally possible with shared custody. But you deported the mother of your daughter. Holy crap. You will pay a fortune of therapy sessions. So why isn't the child going with the mother? Why does he automatically get to keep the child? I'm not sure where OP is located, but in some countries the child who is born in the country, and therefore a citizen, is ruled to be in the custody of the parent who is the citizen after the parent is deported. Everyone sucks here. You could have gone to court and tried to get a custody arrangement, which would have prevented her moving. You could have told your ex about her visa and given her a warning. Now your baby won't see her mum for 6 years. You are a huge asshole. Obviously, she is also the a-hole for trying to move cross-country. Wouldn't it have come to light anyway if they had gone to court? I feel like somewhere in all the legal proceedings that they would be expected to show their own documentation. Birth certificate, driver's license, other forms of legal identification. And the subject of her legal status would have been brought up. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It just sounds like a reasonable thing that would come up if they had gone through the court system. But then he wouldn't be weaponizing it. It would be something that happened as a result of her own actions. He purposefully got her deported. That's what makes him an a-hole. No, Mum's inability to follow the rules got her own tushy reported. OP is not responsible for Mum's visa. Her own poor judgment got her ass deported. She should have kept up on the visa paperwork and employment rather than chasing pretty faces. Ooh, that's controversial. You're the a-hole. You're clearly legally recognized as the father. If she had moved away within the country, then you could have worked out some form of custody that enabled you to see your daughter regularly. In fact, as she was the one moving and willingly upending your child's life for her new partner, you could even have stood to get the majority custody. Instead, you went from 0 to 100, and now Maggie cannot even be in the same country as her own daughter. Yes, Maggie played dirty by planning to move away from you without even consulting you, but you went nuclear. I feel like you guys are going to have fun with this one down in the comments. Our next one's by Deadlife893, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they made my sister getting pregnant ruin my life? She's 23 and I'm 18. Grandma died 8 years ago and she left more than enough money to pay for all her grandkids' colleges, educations, with a few stipulations. Don't get arrested, do drugs, be a drunk, get pregnant, get someone else pregnant. The money was put into an account in the parents' names since we were all kids then. In sophomore year, my sister got pregnant. Crap hit the fan panicking about college. The baby daddy left, and she hasn't tried to find him/get child support. And the stress from that caused a hard, complicated pregnancy. Both are okay. Mom and Dad still let her go to college for as long as she didn't have another and maintained a 3.5 GPA, which she did. She graduated last December with about $2,000 in debt. I figured her money must have been used to help raise her kid and pay for her pregnancy the past 2.5 years, so she had to get a bit of a loan, which seemed understandable. Boy, was I wrong. I got accepted to my dream college on the other side of the state, but Mum kept trying to get me to go to a cheaper one near home so I don't need a dorm and it would be a cheaper school. I asked her why she was so insistent. Grandma left plenty of money, I thought. Turns out, they flushed all the money that was supposed to go to me down the toilet to take care of my sister and her kid and her expensive pregnancy. Turns out was a lot worse than I was led to believe. I broke down and just lost it, crying harder than I ever have, shouting how they screwed me over and ruined my life for the kid that screwed up. Now I'll have at least $70,000 debt if I go to school. I guess this upset my sister, and she asked in a very upset tone if I'd rather her be on the streets, destitute, and unable to care for her kid, who she reminded me was a living being, because she didn't have an education/support system, just so I could go on to college and have a good life. I said yes, how it's not fair that she go to screw up, get drunk, and sleep with so many guys she doesn't know who the baby daddy is, something she told me but apparently not mum or dad. Kept breaking rule after rule while I haven't even had sex with my boyfriend, and now I'm the one that has to be punished for it. Everything just kept evolving into more yelling and fighting until I left. I've been staying with my boyfriend for the past few days. I know with the Rona I shouldn't go anywhere, but I just wanted to be with the one person I feel like actually gives a damn about me. Mum's been texting and calling, trying to get me to come home, saying if I can just be reasonable and not vilify my sister, we can probably work something out. I told her unless she has money Grandma left me, don't talk to me until I have my college loans paid off in 50 years. Did I go too far? A lot of it was driven by emotion, but I really feel screwed over here and like I'm being punished despite being the one that followed the rules. I've since slept with my boyfriend. Hey! I figure if I'm getting punished the same as if I would have broken all the rules, I can at least have some fun. Edit. I have been texting my sister some this morning to try and mend stuff with her, since I didn't think Mum and Dad spending the money was her fault. She was told about it after she graduated and was asked to keep me in the dark. She has offered to pay for a book or two, but not more since she wants to move out to get out from under Mum and Dad's thumb. Probably to party again since she doesn't hide how much she misses it. Edit 2. There was a bit left after sister got done at college and was told about it all. They decided to use it to get her a car so she'd be able to get to work, and she went along with it. Now I'm pissed at all three again. Edit 3. Emailed my copy of the will to the lawyer. He says due to how it was set up, he can't be certain right now we have a case, but there's a good shot. Edit 4. Lawyer says they may have violated the trust Grandma set up, so he's contacting a trust lawyer friend of his to make sure he's reading it all right. I blame the parents for this one. The sister sucks as well, but I think the parents are the biggest offenders here, don't you guys think? Anyway, not the a-hole. I believe there is a legal advice subreddit. Go there, because if your grandmother left instructions for the money that was ignored by those holding it, you can sue, regardless of it being in your parents' name. Hey, r/legal advice, we got some more content coming, let's go. My background is in finance. Not a lawyer, but if the grandmother didn't put it in a trust for the benefit for each specific grandchild with specific guidelines specifying, my god, how the money can be used, there isn't much they can do. If she just put it into an account with the parents' names, like a joint or individual account, the parents are free to use the money however they want. The parents are the a-hole for not using it to benefit all their children, and the grandmother is an a-hole for not doing proper estate planning, and for attaching so many rules to the money. Not the a-hole. I disagree that Grandma was the a-hole for attaching rules to the money. Whenever stuff like this comes up, the comments always devolve into, it's Grandma's money, she gets to decide how it's used, versus, it's a gift and once you gift something, you don't get to say how it's used. But if her rules were, I don't want my money supporting a lifestyle that is destructive or illegal, that's not unreasonable, and it seems like it was made to specifically prevent this kind of thing. Don't get drunk and knocked up at 17, forcing us to spend thousands of dollars on you and your child's care. Really isn't a crazy demand. But the parents just keep making every wrong decision. They should have portioned out the money in the beginning. If sister used all of hers on the pregnancy or related expenses, then she doesn't get to go to college too, unless she pays for it herself. And she certainly shouldn't get gifted a car. So yeah, everyone is the a-hole except OP. And while grandma should have structured the estate better, I think the rules are okay. Not the a-hole. You may have been able to sue your parents to get that money back. If grandma's will was that specific about what money could be used for, then your parents misappropriated your funds. Your parents need to come up with that money. Also, make sure you're using birth control. It's a good one, guys. Wrap it before you tap it. This is why money left for any minor benefits should be put in a trust with parents having no access at all, as well as the trustee being the one to verify requirements are met for receiving said money. I totally agree. My sister and I had college funds when we were little, but my dad used it for business and basically squandered it all. Flash forward 20 years, we still haven't got a single penny back. Alright guys, that's our episode of r/AmITheA today. More content coming tomorrow. I really liked all these posts today. I don't know about you, these were like posted really recently. So yeah, tell me what you thought about these ones down in the comments below. We gotta know. I want to see some arguments. I want to see some disagreements, some agreements. Get in there, guys. Anyway, there's a hawk on the screen. That's my mate. If you want to follow him, you know, he makes some good content, not gonna lie. Hope you guys do like this one today. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.